So we are going live, live. This is September 18th, 2014, and we have a very interesting, if not innovative, Native Innovation Hangout ahead for you folks. And I'm very pleased for our conversation about the latest in Indigenous language apps, the Dinebasad app, with the creators and the host live with us. My name is Ron Motter, host of Planeta.com, and with me are two new friends. Can you please introduce yourself and introduce your work?
Go ahead, Jerome.
Oh, I'm Yate. Hello, everybody. I'm Jerome Tsosie, originally from Rock Point, Arizona, owner of Native Innovation Incorporated, former teacher of 10 years on the Navajo Nation, a former military veteran, did 8 years in the Air Force, and my clans are Tkabashla, but Anibashichin, Kilichin Dashiche, Eshi Dashinala. So my clans are Water Edge, Folded Arms, Eshiha, and Kidlit, and Red House. So I'll have Kyla go ahead and introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kyla Winters, and I have been a teacher, just like Jerome, for 15 years on the Navajo Reservation also. And my title here with Native Innovation is the Education Technology Specialist. And my clans are Tchatnesani, Nashlon, Kia Ani, Bashischindo, Tachine, Dashichedo, Honagani, Dashinele. And I am glad to be here with Ron and to share this exciting project with everyone.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Firing up the iPad here. We've been in touch a little bit through the Navajo Web and Native Innovation Twitter accounts, but then this week I noticed that you launched this app. So congratulations. We'll walk through it a little bit. Can you tell me what we're seeing, who it's aimed for, and how it's led you across this path?
No problem, Ron. What you're seeing is the Navajo Dictionary, and it's appropriately titled Dinebasad, which means the language of the Navajo people. And this app is a tool for new language learners and for those learners who would like to review or learn more Navajo phrases and words and hear spoken word immediately through phrases inside of the app itself. It originated from an idea I had early 2013 of last year. One evening I was searching on Google some resources of Diné phrases and words to help a local language teacher in a community school where I live. And I came across a lot of useful resources across the web itself. And as I did that, a lot of words and phrases that I wanted to use were not coming up. So I had to dig deeper, and besides getting texts, books, it's themselves, I thought an idea occurred to me, actually. And I thought, wow, the internet itself is a huge repository that could be used positively to help our language learners across the world. So I started typing out a simple design of some of the elements for, I didn't know what it was at that point. A simple design of housing words and phrases, custom with categories as themes. And at the same time, I opened a blog called the NetWeb 2.0 and posted a lot of these custom words and phrases, which were pretty much the same as a lot of the resources found throughout Google. But one of the things I wanted to put on there was audio, and I'm a big supporter of mentorship, mentoring students, mentoring those learners in whatever fields that they have. And I decided to start recording audio and interviewing a lot of Native professionals throughout the region here, pretty much wherever I went, to ask them who inspired you to become who you are. And I was able to interview local students who were at the International Science Fair in Phoenix, for example. I ran into
you're freezing.
walking out of the building, and I interviewed her and I said, "Who inspired you?" So a lot of those interviews are found on the NetWeb 2.0, and along with that idea, the whole concept, after I shared it with Jerome and our team at Native Innovation, went from a desktop version to mobile.
Okay, now one second. I don't mean to interrupt you, so hold that thought for a second. I want to introduce people to the app and just show people more or less what we're talking about. So if there's a phrase, and I'm not going to pronounce the Navajo yet, I've only had this for a week, but if we wanted to say happy birthday.
Right, there is an audio icon on there.
We click the icon.
And a user can sit there and listen to that limitlessly. I mean, they can hear that forever. And the voice you hear is Jerome's voice.
Well done, Jerome.
Thank you. I hope I sound professional enough in that.
I think the sound is excellent. And my question, it says search for different topics on the app. To what degree will this be updated? That more words will be incorporated in future versions?
So the way the design works is, as we update the app itself, which is a database of words and phrases, including spoken word, it automatically pushes out all of the content to all users who have downloaded the app itself to their mobile devices instantly. So as you work through the app itself, you may see some pauses for updates for your device to be thinking. What it's doing is it's loading the latest words and phrases and audio. Well, words and phrases. The audio itself is streaming. So the words and phrases are local to your device, and when you select the audio icon, it'll be streaming over the internet.
So you have to be connected to the internet to hear the audio.
That's correct. And there's a reason for that. The reason being is the audio will take a lot of space, and if you can imagine the concept of a user downloading the app itself, what they're downloading, like I said, is the text. And right now we're running about, the last I saw was about 9.5 megs for the app. This is a lifelong project for this generation and the next generation to come. And after that, it will be filled with more words and phrases throughout our whole lifetime. And we can talk about that more later, but that's the reason why we wanted to do the text and words locally and have the audio streaming to say preserve space or save space on the user's devices.
Okay. And in terms of the audio, is it only coming from Jerome, or are you having other speakers participate?
So the way it works is we receive words and phrases. Backing up just a bit, we are promoting the concept of community-based sharing, which is a type of crowdsourcing. So with crowdsourcing, I feel the second most important element inside of the app is the feedback button, which allows a user to request custom words and phrases to be translated, and we receive it. Then we attach a custom phrase to that with a description, and we attach audio to that also and load it all into the database itself. Now, if we have friends in the office or if we're walking by talking to other enthusiasts or a user, we can record them and say, let us record your voice um, saying the word or phrase itself. And so we upload all of that into the database itself.
Are there many differences in terms of the pronunciation across the Navajo Nation?
Yeah, with any language throughout our cultures, and there are variations as we go along, and you come up with slang. There are variations or pronunciations in our region on the Navajo Nation Reservation, which is most popular when we side of the reservation and the eastern side of the reservation pronounce specific words differently. Descriptor words like airplane or snow. For example, I would say "zas" from my community, and on the other side they would say "yas," or I would say "beshnata" as an airplane, which literally means the piece of metal that flies. And then on the other side, they would say "chirinata," which means the vehicle that flies. So those pronunciation differences, those variations are noted, and because of the crowdsourcing function concept within the app itself, it does take care of itself through the synonyms element. If you search a word on that app, Ron, there is a synonyms line on the bottom where that takes care of the variations of pronunciations.
Beautiful. Let me ask you, in terms of, I rudely interrupted you when you were about to talk about the mobile application of this work. Like many people in the past 10 years, you and I have seen a radical change from desktop publishing and desktop reading using the internet to these mobile devices. Obviously, that's influenced you in the decision to launch the Decisionmaking app as an app. Can you go into some of your decision-making process and how you went along those ideas?
Well, a lot of developers out there have created some really useful resources, and that evening and into the ongoing weeks and months when this concept sort of came across my mind, a lot of the resources restrict you to a time and place, which is behind your desktop computer. And as a team at Native Innovation with Jerome and the rest of our team members, we thought, why not make it mobile? And what would be the possibilities of that? And research does say in popular tech culture that a lot of our users are now carrying mobile devices with them instantly. And with the whole wave of social networking and the attention for immediacy by a lot of our users, it really fell into place of the decision to move from desktop to mobile. That is sort of the processes that occurred in the background.
Let me ask you in terms of acceptance. As I understand, you're at a conference right now in Farmington.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to these conferences, and you're no doubt talking and speaking to a number of people, what are the reactions, both in terms of immediate acceptance and those who are a little bit recalcitrant and not really sure what you're doing?
Right, and we've pretty much 90% of our of the public have been very positive in what we're doing. We recently had a booth at the Navajo Nation Fair in Window Rock, Arizona, and a lot of our elders and the older folks, the parents, came to the booth, and I would tell them with my leading sales line of, "Are you ready to have me blow your mind?" And so I tell the kids that were with them, the younger generation, and say, "Your mom and dad are going to be high-fiving me at the end of this presentation. I guarantee it. I will put money on it. And they say, go ahead. So at the end of the presentations leading up to it, through the showing them the whole app itself and what it does for everyone, grandmas and grandpas, elders were high-fiving at the booth, very excited at what was going on. And I would close with the cost of it. And I don't know if you want me to go into that part, but the acceptance is very positive. On our social networks, there are a few people who have voiced their concerns of our language being sacred and not should not be shared actually with the public. Those are some concerns coming in also, but you have to weigh the pros and cons and all of that. And yeah, that's what I wanted to share right now.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Kylo, and thank you. Jerome, can you unmute yourself and
yeah,
drag you into the conversation? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on the Navajo Dan app?
Yes, please.
Well, it's a unique perspective from because I have an educational technology background. I have a master's in educational technology. So when I always taught, I always had the idea or the willingness to incorporate technology into my classroom and just do have a unique strategy for kids to teach them instead of just a traditional delivery of teaching that they're accustomed to. So with that in mind, I mean, this company came along, and now it's just more of like a way to leave our digital footprint for future generations to come. So I saw saw an article about this tribe out in California where they were down to like maybe one fluent speaker, and they were racing against time to preserve their language and speaking it and making it available on audio so they can relearn it. So with that in mind, I mean, this is one of an attempts to preserve it and for future generations to come. So it's just a way of giving back, and it's a road untraveled for our language, especially the Navajo language. So because in the beginning, like Kyla was saying, I mean, we do provide training and provide support to a lot of these schools, but with that in mind, I mean, we've tried to pitch this idea to potential collaborators, but we've been unsuccessful in any attempt to get them on board, just because of the unknown that's beyond the door. So and what kind of effect it would have. So like Kylo was saying, I mean, we have probably about 98% approval rate. So that have people that are really that like it, whereas you have some people that are really against it because they say, oh, you can't do that because our language is sacred, and you shouldn't be posting our language for the whole world to see. So, and that's a big misconception, because I mean that's you know, when we're looking for the future. I mean, this app is, it might be for us, yeah, but it's for our kids as kids down the road, you know. So if you think about it, 20, 30, 50, 100 years down the road, if Apple is still around, you might download the app and hear my voice, you know. It's like it's a wild idea that your grandkids might actually hear your voice or something if Apple is still around, with Apple products. So it's a wild idea. So.
Well, we have the Internet Archive that lets us see what was online 20, 30 years ago, and so much of what is being created now is archived.
Yeah.
And if anyone is doing anything on the internet without an eye toward legacy, I think they're missing the point. So why not put things on the web that we're proud of and that we want to have online and accessible in the future?
Yeah. So like the concept of a mobile Navajo dictionary was just a concept so many years ago. People would say, yeah, I'm going to do it. But that was exactly the same thing with the keyboard that we have too, which is available for free for Navajo. So
Now,
3 years ago,
excuse me, but as I understand it, what the English language alphabet has, what, 26 letters? And
yeah,
Navajo is 34?
not entirely. Let me see here. Hold on. We don't use certain letters, so
Yeah, there's quite a
let's see.
few. There's more than the English alphabet.
Yeah, but we don't use the letter R. We don't use the letter F, or we don't use the letter V or the letter Q in any of the words. So yeah, there's no words that begin with F, V, Q, or R. So, but like Kyla was saying, there's languages are different in different parts of the area. So some slang words do have an R in it, so which is a little bit on the edge, but it's our language evolving. That's what people need to realize. It's like it's not going to be the same 20, 30, 50 years down the road. It might be slightly different. So,
But I'm not. I wasn't challenging it. That I was not challenging you on that. My
uh,
question is your keyboard. So it goes between
yeah,
Navajo and English.
yeah, it goes between. So here's an example of you can download it on your iPad too. So if you click the top button right here, it goes back to at the traditional English keyboard.
Okay.
So
So the keyboard that was developed by Jerome um, several years ago, that was a precursor to being an element within the dictionary itself. So it really worked out for the design part.
yeah. So as a company, I mean, we're taking leaps and boundaries. It's like uh, 3 years ago. If 3 years ago this if this company was never founded, none of the things that we're doing would be available for Native Americans.
Jerome, can you
So,
tell us a little bit about the history? How did you start Native Innovation?
well, it was a concept that I had in the back of my mind when I was teaching. I used to see all these consultants come in and do training uh, for for fees, and they would be widely uh, needed on the reservation just because we're so rural. So at the same time, I was like, well, hey, like maybe if I start a company or consulting on the side, I could actually make a living off of it instead of teach. So, and plus I have an educational technology back as a background, and I wasn't utilizing that. So this was a great chance to fuse that into one.
So
So
when did you start Native Innovation?
May 21st, 2012 is when we founded the company, which is actually like the following week after I left my teaching contract. So it was the following week, like on the 18th or the 19th, that it was the last day I was ever employed as a teacher. So, and then the following week, a couple days came, and the company was founded on May 21st, 2012. So it was a really big decision to make because you're walking away from a nice paying job, 40 hours, 80 hours every 2 weeks, you get a paycheck, to where you're just going into the unknown and like what to expect. So,
So now
and,
you're doing some various consulting programs and training programs in schools. Is it solely throughout the Navajo Nation, or?
no, not entirely. We do more than professional development. We're like a full-fledged technology company where we do sell merchandise. We do sell computers. We do support services for schools. We We
Network
look at
management service.
network management services, just basically anything from A to Z that deals with technology within school, security cameras, etc. So not only do we do services on the Navajo Nation, we also do services for some of our sister tribes like Hopi. So we do have a couple of Hopi clients, and we do have some of our Apache schools down south towards the Phoenix area that we do work with exclusively. So, and we stretch all across the Four Corners area and go right across into New Mexico. And we have one of our farthest clients out there by Albuquerque, which is Tohajilet Community School. So it's a big area to cover, but through things that we're doing, we're making a name for ourselves, and people are taking us seriously to where, like, hey, this young Navajo guy is trying to sell us something. Should we trust him? That's the thing. You know, it's like you got to earn people's trust and not like to where I don't know what it is. Like you have to get buy-in. Buy-in is like the key thing. Like for just because you're Native American, I mean, not everybody buys into what you're doing. So just because they're so used to non-natives coming into their schools and providing certain services, so they'd rather trust a non-native than their own people, which is kind of funny. It's like, but I think we're slowly overcoming those barriers and going into some of these schools and showing them that we are capable of that and more. So and the way the keyboard came about was just like, hey, let's be one of those companies that actually gives back to the people and let's make a statement, because like all these companies come in and they just provide services, they just take and go drive Lamborghinis or something and build those big houses, you know. So, but I wish that was me, you know. I was like, nah, I was kidding. I'm not in it for the money. I wish I was, you know. 3 years of doing this, you know. It's just like it's about loving what you do, you know. It's like even though still being an owner, I still get out there and do training and meet people, and you know, it's like I don't consider myself any less than Kylo or Lavelda. So I try not to do that. So
No, I well, let's see, Kylo, what's your opinion?
No, so yeah, the Denebizot app is, if you can imagine, a type of side project, and everything that Jerome described of the services that Native Innovation provides is what we do. And Native Innovation is unique in a way that it supports all of the employees in working creatively in that space of the company itself. And we are firm believers of the vision and mission of Native Innovation of turning around and giving back to a lot of our communities. And we're all blessed to have met each other and to do what we do today.
Beautiful.
yeah. So it's funny how the way I met Kylo was like I could have met him like 5-6 years ago at a school that we worked at. So, but we didn't. But as I was probably leaving, he was probably coming in through the door. So
It wasn't our time to meet.
Yeah. So we just kind of say, hey, it wasn't our time to meet. So.
I hear you. I want to just share a screen with you and see if you can tell me what I'm looking at. This is there we are. Tell me if that's working.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So this is an article today from the Navajo Times.
Yeah.
And
article today.
Jerome, can you show us the actual dead tree version?
The actual what?
The dead tree version.
The dead tree version.
What's that?
What's that?
I thought you were showing Kylo before.
Oh, you mean the
dead tree? Yeah.
The dead tree.
The corpse of a marble. Yeah.
So here's the full article. Is on the second page of the Navajo Times. So
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And
HP.
that's from today, you say?
Yeah, that was from today.
Fantastic. Look at this. We're looking at the Navajo Times online and in print. This is great. And just to scroll down, just
Yeah.
fantastic. Navajo Innovation President Jerome said that the app is their way of giving back and allowing people to experience a different perspective on learning the Dene language. And kudos to you. That's great. Here's another article from Indian Country,
Hey, Kyla's right there.
and
He's that good-looking guy.
and here's your team.
Mm-hmm.
If you see that, just such a again from a distance. This is such an inspiration, and I'm so thrilled to be able to converse with you and find out more about this. It's nice to see things online. It's nice to talk to the people behind it. So you are getting some good coverage for this work.
Yeah,
Well,
it's actually.
well, we hope so. We hope to get more coverage from your group or your network of friends, Ron.
Well, no doubt you will. And so many of my friends are international in scope. I don't know to what degree. Are you looking at other indigenous languages that are using the technology to put themselves out there?
That's where you come in, Ron. You're gonna get us some tribes to come work with us, so we could be like, hey, Ron referred us to this tribe and we helped save a language. So.
And since the app is not a for-profit product, one of our goals within the company is to actually set aside some money to have a salary for a language enthusiast here to continue putting in and filling in the database itself and monitoring a lot of the feedbacks that will be coming in. So getting the word out is really important.
Yeah, I wish we could do this full time. I mean, we love what we do, but we'd go broke as a company. So, we try to. I mean, me and Kylo probably put in I don't know how many hours on our own time. Most nights I probably went to sleep I've probably been to sleep like 1 or 2, 3 o'clock in the morning doing audio when it's nice and quiet, So, which is, I mean, like I said, I mean, we love what we do, but it'd be nice to have like a grant or something so that it can kind of ease the financial burden. So, because we still got to go out and do training and support these schools. So, like Kyla was saying, I wish we could fund that within our own company, find a full-time position for somebody to come in and just focus on that 24 hours a day, or not 24 hours a day, but 40 hours a week. So.
No, I hear you. And the question is, the degree of using these technologies as they evolve to decentralize the work, to really make the most of crowdsourcing. Once you get the people that you really want to listen to in a way that they can contribute, you have a much easier way of producing materials that can then go out into the world. I mean, we're who knows what's coming out next year? The question, the big question is to have some sort of have an idea or some sort of a philosophy, a strategy of how to use these technologies. I mean, I think I forget on what website I was reading. It was one of your sites, and it says it's not about the technology; it's about the attitude.
Right, and that's one of the things that was on my business card when I first met Jerome. When he walked in late one evening, I never stayed late after work, and along comes a gentleman into the library at the local school where I worked, and he said, "I'm from Native Innovation, and this is what we do." And we just started talking, and 3-4 hours later, I mean, I told him, "Here's my card," and he flipped it over, and it had the tagline, "It's about attitude, not technology." And we've been using that as you've seen.
Yeah, and it's on our T-shirt too. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you've seen one of our T-shirts.
No, show it, please.
Oh wait, hold
wow,
on.
A language app and fashion show.
So here it is. Those in the front. I don't know if you can see it, Ron.
Yeah, we're seeing it now.
So it says, so that just kind of gives you an idea. so yeah, it's a part of our slogan that we use. This stuff. Because I mean, you could have the best product, but if you don't treat people right, it's like they're not gonna buy into what you're trying to sell them, or be willing to work with you.
I also think of it kind of like the counter view, that a lot of people are turned off by the technology. And I just say it's not the technology. It's what we want to do with the technology.
And yeah, with the app itself, it's not replacing anybody. It's not replacing our fluent language speakers in any way. The whole idea is to use this app as a tool to reinforce a lot of the language learning that's occurring, not only in a contained classroom, but as the students walking home, as they're conversing as a small group at the local playground, or even at home, which stimulates conversation and dialogue between a fluent speaking speaker, into where there is that intrinsic kind of motivation for that learner to turn around and say, I can do this. I can learn my own language. And whether this app turns around or motivates at least just one person somewhere around the world, I mean, we've done it. We've done our job.
Wholeheartedly agree there. Before we go, I really would like to know who's responsible. Can you name the people on your team who have contributed to this app?
No problem. On our Native Innovation team, Jerome Tsosie, who's our president of the company, his wife, Cervelia Begay Tsosie, our colleague, Lavelda Charlie, our other colleague, Randy Whitehair, also our language enthusiasts throughout the region, Freddie Johnson, Mildred Walters, Barsine Benali, Florian Johnson, Donovan Pete, a graphic designer who created the logo for the app.
Great logo, by the way. Great logo.
Beautiful it is. Lydell Rafal, Dee Yazzie, Alfredo Yazzie, Irvinson Jones, Terry Winters, Michelle Whitstone, and Derek Nakai. All were contributors.
And Chris Mullenfield, who's my business partner.
And Chris Mullenfield also. We also have some sponsors that we like to recognize, which are the KTNN radio station, AM 660 in Window Rock, also the Navajo Nation Head Start. We're big supporters of the project.
Excellent. Excellent. Before we wrap up, and we should wrap up pretty soon, is there anything else that we've missed that you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, Ron, you were talking about the English to Navajo when you do a search in the database itself. So for every English word that a user types in, it's associated to a word or phrase in Navajo. So as a user looks on the screen or the interface itself, there's a space for synonyms, and those synonyms are also hyperlinks. So a user can type in an English word of love or a specific English word, and a synonym will come up in Navajo on the bottom, and they're able to select that, and it'll change to the Navajo or Diné word or phrase with the audio icon on the screen.
So good. 1 second, and I mean good. If I click that, the synonym goes into the Navajo.
That's correct. And like I said, that takes care of the pronunciation variations throughout the region here.
Yeah.
In the future, do you see providing multiple versions of each audio clue?
Yeah, we could do that. We could add on different custom phrases, which would have us redo the audio itself and upload it back into the database itself. It's
Can I share with you our admin panel?
Oh, please, you can.
Hold on, let me.
It's magic.
Magic. Can you see my screen?
I see your screen.
All right, let me see if this works the way we want it to, right? Right, Kyla? Oh wait, let me refresh it. It doesn't like these captchas, or what do you call these?
CAPTCHA.
Captcha, yeah.
You have to fill in a CAPTCHA for your own administration screen? That's awful.
Hey, you gotta be careful. You gotta. It's a good way to get those spammers off. Let's see here. I can't. Kylo, you need to get rid of that thing.
So it's not working right now, Jerome. So let's hold off on that on the next Google Hangouts.
All right, that sounds good.
And yeah, we just wanted to push the whole idea of using the World Wide Web as a repository, where we've been pushing a tagline also of having this generation preserve our language and the next generation to promote it.
Completely agreed. And you know, as you have shown, you know, it's not just using one. It's not just using one app or one channel. It has to be across the social web. As I say, when I found what you were doing first, it was through some of your tweets on Twitter, and just letting people know what you're doing and providing some language tips.
Right.
Just so helpful.
Right, and that's what we want to do, and those are the pros and cons, if you can imagine. Non-Navajo speakers or non-Navajo learners would be learning the language itself, and those are what those people who are concerned about are referring to, saying the non-natives non-Navajos will be learning our language, and why are you showcasing it for free? And we sort of state that, wouldn't you want to learn a language in a region that you're living in? Isn't that sort of common sense in a way? So we're having concerns coming in from a lot of angles, and it's interesting to have those type of stimulating conversations, not only internally within the company, but with our public.
Well, agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, there are multiple audiences here.
So like Kyla was saying, I mean, like in the app we do have like a category for like one of the biggest disconnects is people coming in like from the outside, like people that are in the medical field. So we started a category that has medical terms. So eventually this will be, if you can see right here on the screen. So eventually we'll get more medical terms, so people can connect with the people that they're serving. So even though they might not be able to speak the language, but they'll be able to say, hey, do you mean this? Medicine is called Aze. So they'll figure it.
Oh, there are so many ways that we can expand upon this and grow this.
Yeah.
And
We're talking to a lot of decision makers and organizations here locally in the region in the medical field, in schools, and where they want to place custom words and phrases, into the app itself, and we're totally open to that.
Wonderful. Let me ask you, in terms of background, though, for the Navajo, is to what degree are Navajo speakers primarily Navajo and then English language speakers, or the reverse, or do you have mixes where people are also speaking Spanish or other languages?
In every degree, as in any culture, there are trilingual speakers, bilingual speakers. It's the same, even in our Navajo culture.
No, and thus, I mean, I think any sort of a dictionary and a bilingual or a multilingual dictionary is just such a help for everybody.
It is, and just to hear a user say that it's so helpful, it just touches our heart of what we've been doing so far, working so hard.
Beautiful. Jerome, any final words?
No, just that thanks for giving us the opportunity to share with you and whoever's watching in the world that anything is possible. I mean, you just got to be willing to take that next step and see what the outcome is. So, but I'm thankful for the people that I work with, especially like Kylo. Kylo's been a huge asset to the company, and I was kind of hesitant at first to start this project because I don't know. I mean, like funding becomes a big issue, like we were saying. So
yeah.
A lot of the times we use our own money we do use our own money to fund this because we don't have no government grants. We don't have no tribe helping us. So it's kind of good that it came from a private corporation for other people to realize what's possible and not be afraid of the unknown. So hopefully what we've done here will inspire others to make a difference.
Certainly. Kylo, any final words?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who's listening, and I look forward to future hangouts with you, Ron, and your audience. Big shout outs to our contributors and everyone I mentioned earlier. Also, we have a projects board, some concepts that we're working on for future apps, and those will be coming soon. Just want to tell our listeners that the Android OS version of the Decisionmaking app will be coming soon. We'll have it released before December 1st. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you both. This has been as good of a conversation as I've had, and we will certainly have more Hangouts in the future. So thank you again, and stay online. We're going to stop the webcast here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Keep an eye on the YouTube page and the Google event page for the relevant links we've been discussing. Hopefully they're also listed there on that spotlight widget there on the YouTube video. So many thanks to everybody for watching, and you certainly have been inspired, and you folks have been inspiring. So many thanks.
Thanks so much, Ron.